Books, books. I like books. I'm gonna read them all.
Hi readers, Chris here. Welcome to my channel where I review fantasy, Stephen King, all sorts of books. And today I'm just doing a random catch-up video, channel update, and I'm gonna review some books today. In case you didn't know, I was recently gone for a week. I was in Las Vegas. Most of the week was for work. I did have a few days to myself, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but I didn't get home until like 9 a.m. on a Monday morning. So yeah, the past 2 weeks have just been pretty much like just done. 1 week I was away, the next week I was trying to recover. I'm still trying to recover, honestly. But yeah, I'm going to do a few quick updates. Then I'm going to jump into some reviews of some books that I've been wanting to talk about. I'm super behind, so only 5 minutes each. I will put chapter times in the description as to which books I'm going to be talking about in case you want to jump to one of them specifically. But first, just a quick update. I have somehow, I don't know how, made it over 500 subscribers, which is so crazy to me because I kind of just like accepted the fact that I was always going to have like a really low number and yada yada yada. So it's been hovering around like 502, and who knows, maybe it'll drop a little, maybe it won't, I don't know. So in order to celebrate that, I really want to do a giveaway before the end of the year. So I don't know exactly when I'm going to do it, probably after the Thanksgiving holiday here in the US. I'll either do it with like my monthly wrap up or shortly after that. But I haven't done a giveaway in a while, and I'm really excited that I have a reason to do one now. So whether you're new here or you've been here forever, thank you so much. Yeah, it just means the world to me. So these are not in any sort of order. These are just books that I want to talk about that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet. So the first book that I want to talk about is Mexican Gothic. I read this back over the summer. If you don't know anything about this, it's by Silvia Moreno-Garcia, who has kind of become one of my new favorite authors. I have yet to read a book of hers that I haven't enjoyed. Our main character here is this lady named Naomi, and Naomi is living in Mexico City in the like 1970s, and she gets this mysterious note from her cousin. Her cousin married this wealthy guy, and now she's living at this estate in the middle of nowhere, and her cousin is like really sick. She has this mysterious illness, and Naomi feels like she really needs to go check on her. But when she gets there, like, the rich family that her cousin married into is very mysterious. Like, they're trying to play it off like her cousin is fine, but her cousin keeps dropping these little hints that like maybe she's not fine. So through most of the book, you really have like no idea what's going on. Is Naomi overreacting? Is her cousin in trouble? Is she not in trouble? You really don't know. But the book is called Mexican Gothic, and this is a Gothic story. So without giving spoilers away, you should be able to put 2 and 2 together there. So what I like about this book is, first of all, the setting. I do love Gothic stories, and I feel like Silvia Moreno-Garcia really does a good job with this genre. Like, the house itself is very Gothic. It's like, it's an old house and it's spooky, but it's beautiful at the same time. It's dark and mysterious and kind of sexy, and I love all of that. And I feel like Naomi as the main character I really love her character. I love strong female characters, and I think that Naomi is that. Because like, there are plenty chances for her during the course of this book where she could have just like taken the easy way out. She could have taken the easy way out, but she doesn't. She does not take the easy way out. She listens to her intuition. She does not give up. She keeps pushing forward, and I just love that. I love that for any character, but especially for a female character. And then when it comes to the quote-unquote villain, villains of this book. Like, they're so great. Like, so dark, so disturbing. There are some really creepy moments, like truly creepy stuff. Like, I don't think that anything is quote unquote scary, but I would call it creepy. There's some really creepy stuff in here, and I think that just adds to like the whole Gothic atmosphere, and I really, really love that stuff. My only criticism is, even though this book takes place in 1970s Mexico, I just wish that there was like more done with that. Like, I feel like this story could have taken place in any century, in any time period. So I don't think that there was anything in here that I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely 70s. Like, maybe a little bit, but I think the book could have gone farther in that case. But that's just my personal opinion, and that's really nitpicky. So overall, I really enjoyed this one, and am definitely going to continue reading Silvia Moreno-Garcia. The next book that I want to talk about is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. And this is actually the second Naomi Novik book that I've read this year. I actually read Uprooted earlier in the year, and I didn't do a full review of this one because this one to me was just kind of meh. Like, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It was just okay to me. This one I definitely liked a lot better. So in this story, we have a young girl, and she is a student at this magical school called the Scholamans. And the Scholamans is a school for like sorcerers and sorceresses, and it's kind of like really dangerous. Like, this is not Hogwarts. Like, if you survive this school, like, you will have made it. Which begs the question, why would parents send their children to this school if it's so dangerous? But that's just the world. You have to survive the Scholamans in order to like take your place in magical society. And our main character, because of her past, everyone thinks of her as like, oh, you're going to become an evil magician, an evil sorceress because of who you are and how you were raised. And she's kind of trying to prove everyone wrong. There's also this really popular guy that like everyone's in love with, and she's like, oh, I don't like this guy, but the guy is giving her all this attention, and it takes a while for her to like admit that she likes it, but I'm pretty sure she's liked it all along. So I think my number one thing I can say about this book is that it is interesting. It is so interesting. Like, I'm a big, Harry Potter, Hogwarts, a big fan of like the whole magical school trope, academia, dark academia, and this is definitely like dark academia. So if you are into dark academia, you may like this one. Now, I will say that Naomi Novik's writing, it's not my personal favorite. I don't hate it by any sense of the word, but like, I do struggle with it sometimes because I do think that it's very dry. So if that bothers you, you may struggle with it. If it doesn't bother you, you may like it. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. But again, I do really like the setup of a young girl who's like predispositioned to be this kind of evil sorceress, but she kind of is trying to prove herself. I really enjoyed all that. So out of the two of these, I definitely want to continue reading this series because I want to see what happens next. And also, I have a lot of questions about this. Not just like, again, the school, like, I want to know more about this school. Like, why was this school set up? Why is this school so dangerous? Why is this school trying to kill students? And again, why in this world is it acceptable to send your children to a school where there is a very high probability that they might die? This is not the first time we've heard a story like this, but again, these are just the questions that I have. So yeah, overall, A Deadly Education. I did enjoy this one more than Uprooted, And I do want to try more from Naomi Novik. I don't know if I'll read the sequel to this first or maybe one of her other books first, but I definitely want to keep trying her. I just can't say that she's like a favorite at this point in time. The next book that I want to talk about is Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. This is the third book in his Stormlight Archive, and I typically don't do like full-length review videos on sequels and series and that sort of thing because it gets really hard to talk about these books without talking about spoilers. But I did want to say a few things about this one in particular, because I feel like this book is very divisive. I've heard a lot of things about people that have read the series, and a lot of people either love this book or they hate it. And I have to say, I kind of fall somewhere in the middle. I don't love this one and I don't hate it. And I'm going to tell you why. If you don't know anything about this series, it's very complex and hard to explain, but basically this is a world where people draw power from storms, think like lightning storms. There was a war a really long time ago, and as a result of the war, there's these two people that have been fighting for a long time, and we have a bunch of characters. One's a soldier, one's a scholar, one's a general of the army, yada yada yada. That is way oversimplification because the lore and world building in this book is like Game of Thrones level, Lord of the Rings level, Wheel of Time level, but probably even more than that. All of these books are 1,000+ pages. They are chunky. Now, in the book before this, that book number 2, that is my favorite of the series so far. So I came into this book with very high expectations, although I had some people warn me that this book ruined the series for them. So I was a little hesitant. Now, I can understand why people have said that, because this book is very slow. Like 500-600 pages in, nothing happens. Like nothing of substance, nothing of consequence happens. And I felt myself at times going like, oh my God, like where is this going? Why is it taking so long to get there? Like this book did not have to be 1,000+ pages long because nothing happens. However, in true Sanderson fashion, the last 200 pages are very exciting, and they're action-packed and they're thrilling, and there's a lot of great stuff that happens in there. So I loved the last 200 pages of this book. Loved it. Like I said, there are so many exciting things that happen. There is so much action. There's so much magic and adventure and world building and all this stuff. But it takes so long to get there. So long to get there that it's like really frustrating at times. So again, Sanderson is known for having like really exciting endings to his book, and I really love that about his writing. But I don't love the fact that it takes so long to get there sometimes. So yeah, this book did not ruin the series for me. Overall, I will say that I enjoyed it. However, I do not like it as much as I liked book 2. So hopefully the next book in the series will get things back on track and will be more exciting throughout the entire book instead of just at the very end. Another book that I had some mixed feelings on is Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 6th book, I believe, in her Throne of Glass series. And yeah, again, this is another very divisive book because there are only 7 books total in this series. And in books 1 through 5, we're pretty much following the storyline of one main character, Selena, aka Aelin. It's like her journey, her hero's journey. And then all of a sudden in Tower and Dawn, the story takes a left turn, and our main character that we've been following for 5 books now is not in this book. This book tells a side story that's going on in a different area of the world with different characters and different stuff going on. And of course, yes, it all ties together. But again, I feel like this is very similar to what I was just saying about Oathbringer, where for the first 500 pages of this book, nothing happens, nothing significant, nothing of consequence. It really takes a long time to build up the story. And then, yeah, the end of the book is very exciting. The end of the book introduces some concepts and some things that are going to be really important, I assume, I haven't read it, in the final book. But it takes so long to get there. There is so much time spent exploring this new area of the world, exploring these new characters and these new concepts, and literally the town or the kingdom that this takes place in, the ruler has 7 children. Why do we need to know all of these 7 children? And it's a lot. It is a lot. And again, I love world building. I love a good story. I love all that stuff. And I have read stories before where this type of thing happens. If anyone is familiar with Terry Goodkind and The Sword of Truth, there's a similar thing that happened in that series where after 6 books of following the main characters, all of a sudden book 7 came out and followed a totally different character in a different section of this universe, and it was very jarring. So because I'm used to that, I didn't find it jarring. I don't find it jarring at all. However, again, what I don't like is that it takes so long to build up to anything significant in anything that matters. And the stuff that is significant, the stuff that does matter, I found that stuff really awesome. I found that stuff really great. I was totally into it. But it took way too long to get there. So, way too long. Oathbringer and Tower of Dawn could have been literally cut in half, and I think it still would have been a great book. So, yeah. I still like this one overall. I'm still going to finish the series, but this book was way too long. And now for something completely different. I wanted to talk about All These Bodies by Kendare Blake. This is my first book by Blake, and I believe E.D. Lewis, I believe you're a big fan of Kendare Blake because she's written some Buffy books, some vampire books, and this is also a vampire book. So basically, this story is about a young boy named Michael, I believe his name is. It's been a while since I read this one. Yes, Michael. And there is this tragic, mysterious death in his town. And there's actually been these series of murders across the country. And no one can catch this serial killer. No one knows who's been doing these murders. But in this one town, when they get to the scene, they find this young teenage girl. She's there, she's covered in blood, Catherine. So they arrest her. But, of course she's I didn't kill this entire family. I didn't kill all of these people. And there's something about Michael that Catherine really, latches onto. So Michael is the only person that she will talk to. So most of the book is basically interviews between Michael and Catherine. And I think the whole concept setup of that is actually really cool. However, I don't think the book went far enough. I think if the book had actually been written as a series of interviews, in that style, I think that would have added to things. Because the setup of young teenage boy interviewing this girl that he doesn't believe in his heart that she could have done this, but there's literally no other explanation other than she did this. Maybe with the help of a mysterious figure, maybe not, but yeah, it's really interesting. It's really interesting. Again, compared to the other books, this is a short story. It is concise, it is well-paced, and I really, really like this one. I also like that it's from the perspective of a teenage boy, because I feel I don't know, the types of stories I read, I don't get that perspective a lot. So I did really enjoy that. And I love his relationship with Catherine, this Catherine girl, because she's obviously like completely different from any young girl that he's ever met. Because this is supposed to take place in like, I want to say the 50s or 60s. So like most young girls are supposed to be prim and proper, and that's not, you know, Catherine Marie. She asks for cigarettes and red lipstick, and like she's feisty, but like also like very traumatized. Like she went through a traumatizing experience. Whether she's behind it, whether she's not, there is clearly a dark influence in her life. And I like that Michael treats her like a normal person. He doesn't treat her like a serial killer. He doesn't treat her like she's this like mistress of the dark. He just treats her like a person, and that's what like draws her to him. And honestly, I think that's something we can all learn from, like just treating people like people. I mean, such a crazy concept, right? So anyway, like at the end of the day, I think this book could have gone farther with the, you know, the things that it sets up. But again, I really enjoyed it. It's a short read. I would definitely read more from Kendare Blake. I thought it was fun, cute, but dark at the same time. And yeah, overall, like, is it the best thing I've ever read? No, absolutely not. But I thought it was fun and I want to read more. Okay, I think I've talked about all the books that I wanted to talk about. And, oh, I just saw someone, so hold on. I didn't think he was awake, but he just got up. It's the Roscoe! Yay! It's the Roscoe. Roscoe, everyone wants to see you. Can you say hi? Can you say hello, Roscoe? Oh, thank you so much. Roscoe is very excited about all the good books that we've read recently. Huh, baby. Thank you. So that is it for me today. So now I want to know from you, what are some of the books that you've been reading lately? Have you read anything that's been like mind-blowing? Have you read anything that you've been meh on? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments section below. And as always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel for more bookish stuff and more furry friends coming your way soon. All right, everyone, happy reading.